Hey everybody, and welcome back to our channel here at 360 Player, the all-in-one sports platform. In this video, we're gonna go over 3 stats that you may not be keeping track of as a football coach that can be very, very interesting and help give your team some extra insights. And all 3 of these metrics are very, very easy to measure inside of 360 Player. So let's get started. Now, most coaches are gonna keep track of how many goals their team scores and how many goals their teams give up. But how many coaches keep track of when during a match those goals are scored? When you track goals inside of a match inside of 360 Player, you can add the minute when those goals are scored, and then our data will automatically generate reports such as a goal scoring timeline. And with this report, you can see when during a match your team is most likely to score or concede a goal. With input like this, it's very, very easy to see if your team, for example, is really good at starting matches very strongly or ending matches very strongly, or maybe your team has some weaker points in a match where maybe towards the middle of the match, they're more likely to concede goals, or maybe they could concede goals towards the end. And having this data and telling your players these insights can really help your team get focused on those parts of the match where you're most likely to concede a goal and be extra careful during those times in the match. It could also give you some key insights as a coach when can be a good time to alter your strategies to maximize the performance of your team. The next statistic that you may not be tracking is the physical strain of your players. Now, physical strain has been shown to be the #1 cause of injuries when players are pushing themselves too hard and when they've had too much physical strain. Now, basically with the 360 Player app, anytime a player trains or does an individual training on their own away from their team, they can go ahead and log this activity on their player profile, and then our algorithms inside of the platform can keep a running tally of the estimated physical strain of all of the players. So for example, if a player has a ton of really intense practices in a row, and then they go home and lift weights or practice tennis with their dad, for example, well, they're gonna log those activities, and then the players themselves will get an understanding for what their current estimated physical strain is, and then they can have that communication and dialogue with their coaches to make sure that they don't accumulate overuse injuries and burnout. By being able to quickly monitor the physical strain of your team, you can always ensure that you're pushing your players hard enough as a coach, but not to the point where they're gonna be risking getting injured. And as a coach, whenever you have a training or a match, you can set the estimated physical strain. So if it was a very difficult training with lots of fitness and conditioning and all of these sorts of aspects, you can say that the practice was more difficult, and that's gonna help predict the physical strain of the players that attended that practice automatically. And you could do the exact same thing with a match as well. The third stat that you may not be tracking as a coach is minutes played for your players. Now, a lot of clubs, they're gonna have a minimum amount of time that they want all players that are playing in the club to play on the field. With 360 Player, this is a very, very easy metric to track, because if you set your starting lineup as a coach and then you track your substitutions, the app will automatically calculate the exact amount of time that each player on your team has played. You can then go in afterwards and generate a report and see who's played the most in your team and who's played the least in your team. And this can be a really, really good way to make sure every player in your team is getting the maximum development opportunities. And just being able to see the actual statistics behind this can help you make better decisions with your players as a coach. With that being said, guys, those were just 3 types of statistics that we have inside of 360 Player, but we've got all kinds of other statistics as well. And of course, we also have features to help your team maximize performance, like our video analytics tool where you can save clips, tag players, give feedback, create playlists and highlights, everything within the app. We have a total platform to maximize both individual and team performance. So if this sounds interesting to you, be sure to check out the links down below in the description. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we will see you in another one.